Hello and welcome to Woo Wednesdays. I'm your host, Mo. I can't even get my words out. Okay, hold on. Welcome to Woo Wednesday. I am your host, MoJo Medium, and we meet every week here at noon central on Woo Wednesdays to talk about all things woo and to share cool stuff. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm running on my little behind. There's absolutely no question of that. Here's why. So I had a couple of days where Monday and Tuesday I was just kind of overwhelmed with all kinds of things, and I had to take all day yesterday off because my mom had two doctor's appointments and my sister was not available. So I went off to St. Louis and took my mom to the doctors and all that stuff. So I just had said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to try to work. I'm not going to cram anything in. I'm not going to knock myself out. And so there was a little stress with that. She's fine, nothing bad at the doctors, but it was a little bit stressful and other stuff that's been going on. And so I'm like, oh, anyway. So I said, today I'm just not going to push it. I'm not going to get up with the alarm. I'm not going to worry about it, just going to give myself the morning off. Well, best laid plans, right? So here I am coming in here at right at 12 o'clock and like, oh, I've got to get this message on TikTok because I was given the guidance to do it and do it before you go live on Wednesdays and get this done. And so anyway, here I am. I apologize for being a minute late. And now we're going to rock and roll and have a good time. Okay. I am Mojo Medium, as I mentioned, aka Susan Morrow Johnson. You'll find me on the web at mojomedium.com. I am, yeah, I'm coloring on my work journal right now. Neither here nor there. And what I do is I am so many things, just like you. Um, Psychic medium, teacher, coach, speaker, trainer, author, channel, mystic. And what I do is I lead the next generation of spiritual guides to a new paradigm. And we are shifting as a species, as a planet, actually, not just the people, but the animals too, and the plants and the planet. We are shifting into a time of greater peace and prosperity and connection and community. In short, the virtues and values of the divine feminine, which have been missing for so long. And you might be getting the sense that I have said this a lot of times. Well, I have. I have said this a lot of times. So many of us have, many teachers have come into this time to help people with this transition. And because we need so many, we need many. So a lot of us have come into this time space to help humanity raise its vibe and move into the new paradigm. And so what that means is if you are drawn to the metaphysical and the woo, if you are already practicing in something to do with spirituality, no matter where you're coming from or what kind of vision you have or what your spiritual path is, then you may be one of the teachers who have come forth. And so I am here to help the teachers teach the other people and help everybody. And so this is the way, if this is the way that you were meant to help others in this life, then I'm here to help you do that. I help you help others. Okay, that's putting it simply. All right, now then, let's jump in and do our thing here. So I do have kind of a mighty message. So I want to get to that. I'm going to start with a good news only fortune telling card. And I'm going to do a little channeling, a little brief channeling part. I'm not sure what that's going to be because I never know until I open up and do it. And then we will have discussions, possibly a little love seat coaching around an issue if you have one. And excuse me, I like to wrap up with doing the 3x3 angel card readings. Okay, so sit tight. We're going to get going here. So the good news only fortune telling cards. There they are. Good news only. Woo! These, I was inspired to create these many years ago when I would say to somebody, I'm a psychic medium, and they go, oh no, what bad thing is going to happen to me? What do I need to be worried about? What do I need to prepare for? And, it is natural for us as humans to look for danger, but our brains do it automatically so that so that we don't get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, right? I mean, it's a very, very old way of biologically supporting our existence. So the problem is that in the modern life, we still do a lot of negative thoughts and looking out for danger. And we are very rarely faced with this saber-toothed tiger, right? Um, okay, stop with the psychology. We're going to move on to this. So really looking for the good and expecting the good and anticipating the good, that actually releases endorphins. And if you're looking for the bad, you know what you find. And if you look for the good, you know what you will find. So thus was born this deck of good news only cards. And if you have your own deck, and you can get one if you want to, you can simply cut the deck and pull a card anytime you want to, and see what that means about your day, how it guides it. It kind of helps you to start tuning into spirit and noticing and looking for things. But the main thing is, well, when I draw one for you, I give it a little bit more psychic, so you get a little more specificity on what to look forward to. The main thing is to strengthen that look for the good muscle, to practice eager anticipation so that you feel better. Plain and simple. Okay, today's card is, all that being said, travel. Remember, every card cannot be interpreted as anything other than good news. Okay, so travel. I love that. So it's a good travel. Oh gosh, this is literally an unexpected pleasure trip. Like vacation, um, going to visit somebody you love and miss. It's not a chore. It's not a work. It's not a horrible expense that you weren't expecting. It's a good thing. It is a good trip of some sort that you really were not expecting. So it's kind of a surprise travel, and it will be good. And so keep in mind that sometimes, now I'm giving you this so that you can look forward to a pleasure trip, right? But keep in mind that when you're thinking, oh, I'm going on a trip, oh my gosh, if you start going, I can't afford it, I can't take time off work, this doesn't make sense to me, there's no place I want to go, whatever that is, then that's not doing what we're trying to do with this. Okay. So I want you to keep that in mind. Just go, wow, I'm going on a trip. And it may be an overnight, it may be a weekend, it may be a week, who knows? But just look forward to travel, okay? Look forward to travel, be excited about it. It's going to be happy. All right, then, excuse me. I'm going to write that down because I like to keep track of my cards. I don't know if you do that when you pull cards, but I think it's good to write them down. And that way you can go back and say, oh, the cards I pulled last week. Look how much that applied to what's happened since then. I think it's really good and really helpful. Okay, so I guess we will go into the Mother Spirit channeling part now. Oh, I need to still slow down a little bit. Melanie, I just wanted you to know that I'm really glad you're here. There's something in the chat. She says, hello, everyone. Yeah, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Candy, of course, I always appreciate you too. All right, let me do the channeling Mother Spirit. This is my source. Thanks, Melanie. She said, I'm glad you're hosting this. Love that. Thank you. You put a heart. I put a heart. All right. So let's see what we've got here. Are we there yet? We hesitated because you needed an extra breath. We always love to come and do this with you. So here we are. We are exploring new thoughts about loving others and feeling sympathy, empathy, and compassion for others. As we explained in MoJo's Spray and Pray, that's her shower time, it is not possible to, as Dr. King said, to drive out hate with hate. And only love can do that. And so we are encouraging all of you to begin to feel love. You talk about sending love and light, wrapping someone in love. Try to feel love for the people or one person that you feel is a problem, someone that you do not want to love, someone that you think does not deserve your love or your attention or your compassion. Try simply to feel love because that is how you reach your divinity, your divine connection. You are connected to this other person, whether you like it or not, because we are all connected. We are all connected through all that is. And so this other person is, you feel he is not lovable or she is not lovable because this person lacks compassion and empathy and sympathy and love. And the reason for that person to be the way that we'll say they are is that they have not experienced empathy, sympathy, compassion, and love in their own life. And when you recognize that with someone who is a bully or who is mean or who is rude or who is selfish or who yells at the waiter, when you recognize that that person is not wounded, that person is unloved. And then you see why that person is unlovable, why you do not want to feel love for that person. And we do not want you to feel pity. Pity is easier to feel, isn't it? Pity makes you feel as though you're okay. But when you pity someone else and say, oh, poor thing, they have not been loved the way I have been loved, and aren't I fortunate? That's pity. Compassion, feeling love for someone, feeling empathy is saying, I would feel terrible not having experienced love, compassion, empathy, and sympathy. And so I want to give them what they are lacking. I want to give that to them because I have it to give. And I feel love for that person. We can feel that you feel this message very strongly. This comes to you as making perfect sense. It is not only logical, it is spiritual, it is emotional, it is feeling for you. It is recognizing the divine within you that you know is there. You know it is there. And when you do this, when you really put your heart to feeling love and compassion for someone who does not deserve it, that is when you tap into that divine, that unconditional love that lives within you. Wake it up. You don't have to say anything to that other person. You don't have to say anything to anyone that you are feeling love and compassion for someone, especially someone that other people might think is also despicable. But you can share this message. You can share this message to feel love for those who do not seem to be worthy of love, and they seem worthy of pity, worthy of despisement, worthy of hatred, and worthy of disdain. And when you feel love for them, that changes you and it changes them as well. And this is what we are here to do. We are here to do this. You and your cohorts, you are here to do this, to feel love and to make that ripple out into all the world. This is where we stop for now. You understand. We know you get this message, and there will be more. I started tearing up myself. It's me again. I mean, I knew the message. I knew the message. They did share this with me earlier, but yeah, I started thinking about what they said about pity. That really touched me because it's like going, oh, poor thing. There is some superiority in that. You know, there is sort of a sense of, well, I'm so glad that I don't have that problem. I've been loved. I've had compassion. I've been helped, you know, and here's somebody who's really mean. And yeah, you know, it's easy to say, poor thing. Why are you so mean? Who hurt you? You need a mother. And that's, you know, that's where we are with this. And in fact, that's what I'm starting to do when I said that I lead the next generation of, let's see here. Marisol has a comment. I've wondered this my entire life. How can I hold the tension of having compassion for one who does not deserve it and not become drained myself? That is a very good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it. And you've always wondered. I love that. Thank you for commenting that. So that I think that's where we have the answer. It's not to seek to understand. It's not to seek to forgive or to feel pity, but it is to feel love for that person, feel love and compassion. And don't worry about whether they deserve it. That's just your opinion. I mean, if we all have a soul, we all have that chunk of the divine within us. We are all worthy of love, joy, and abundance. And that's, I mean, I've been preaching that one for years, right? So you are worthy of love, joy, and abundance. And that's what I work on with so many of my clients, because worthiness is at the root of sorry, feeling worthy of love, joy, and abundance. Feeling that is at the root of your lack and anything that is missing in your life and the things that you really, really want and don't have. And the feeling worthy is also at the root of things that you do have. So if you have a wonderful marriage, you feel worthy of a wonderful marriage. If you feel worthy, if you have a job that you love, then you feel worthy of having this job that you love. And that's the evidence of it, you know? So, so that other person actually is worthy of love, joy, and abundance, just like you are, because we're all made of the same stuff, you know? And so I'm really glad that you brought this up of how can you hold the tension for somebody who doesn't deserve it. So we let go of that. And it's not about, oh, leave judgment up to God. It's not that at all. It's just a matter of, I'm going to feel love for this person because it's good for them and it's good for me. It's good for the world when I feel love for other people, when I feel compassion for someone, not pity, but compassion, and say, I've hurt too. I have lacked too. I have felt unworthy. I have struggled for, you know, to feel like I have control over something. I have felt powerlessness. And then when we are compassionate in that way, that's true of everyone. That is universal. And love is also universal. And so to say, yes, I have felt that, I feel compassion for you, and I feel love for you because we are all one, then you're loving yourself at the same time. And so when you say, how can you hold that compassion and not feel drained? That's how you do it. You are compassionate for yourself at the same time. Because even though you're separate from them, you are connected to them. That's excellent. You know, Marisol, sorry, Marisol is your last name, isn't it? Maybe it's your middle name. Melanie. Okay. The fact that you just brought up this comment extended this like you're part of a discussion. And so I'm sure that you're probably, you know, busy and you don't have the ability to share with your face and your voice. And that's fine. It's totally fine. I don't want you to feel pressured about that. But just that Melanie's your first name. Okay. But just that you're making this comment. Hello, dear. Yeah. Just that you made this comment enhanced this moment a lot for everybody who will see it. So thank you for that. So where are you? Are you at work? Are you in the library? Where are you?
I am at the bookstore right now. It's just a little loud. I'm working
Cool.
here. Yes, my partner is a pastor, and he is just like totally white Jesus incarnate. It's this whole thing about being compassionate to people that are cussing him out, and I'm not that level, but I appreciate what you shared. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, maybe you could share that with him too. I mean, maybe he would say, yeah, that's what Jesus is about, right? I think that that's what Jesus was about,
He was,
you know?
yes. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe I can be judgmental. I know this about myself. So it's something I'm not learning. But sometimes I'm like, why is this person acting this way? I wouldn't act this way because I would get shamed. So why can't they get a grip? That's where my patience is here, and then they kind of push me over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, nobody's perfect. We're not all a bunch of saints, but we can try. And we can take a conscious moment to say, I'm going to feel love and compassion for this person. And after what we've just talked about and keeping all that in mind, then it doesn't create a tension and it doesn't drain you, you know? So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. All righty. Gosh, we're rocking right on down the line here. Candy, do you have any comments about that stuff?
Yeah. One thing I've learned being in this world is that kindness spreads. I just yesterday I saw a lady struggling at Home Depot with getting something in her buggy. I guess she was returning. Anyway, I said, "Do you need some help?" And she said, "Oh no, honey, I have it." But it made other guys in the parking lot turn around and look. So see, I think kindness spreads when someone sees someone else being kind.
Well,
And
did the
that's
guy step up or did she let somebody help?
no,
No. Yeah,
no,
that's
she pretty much had it.
she did have it. Okay. Well, that's I was just going to say that that's something that women do all the time. It's a huge problem about, no thanks, I've got it. When really, you're like, oh, you've got a bone sticking out of your leg and bleeding profusely. I'm fine. So that's, it's one of those things that we work on. But to your point, that kindness spreads, that you said that, and they looked up and noticed and they saw that she had it. But if they had seen that she didn't have it, they probably would have come rushing to her aid. I one time I took my daughter's car to get gas. She was low on gas and hadn't had a chance to go. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go get gas. And the gas station was up an incline. Well, car ran out of gas right as I got onto that driveway. She has not ever run out again. That was a while ago. So there I was, and she had an SUV. So it was pretty big, and there was really nothing I could do. And like four guys came over and they pushed that thing up onto the flat part where I could get gas. And that, I mean, one guy started it, and then the other guys were like, "Oh, I want to go do this too. I'm going to go help this." And you're right. I think that people see something happening, and they go, "Oh, people do want to help." Although I had an interesting experience that this has actually happened a couple of times in my life. Um, there is something called the bystander effect, which is when there is something, somebody needs help of some kind. If there are a lot of people around, everybody thinks somebody else is going to take care of it. Now, I have seen the opposite happen too, like I was talking about with the guys in my car, or like you see a car wreck, a lot of people will stop. But this does happen, and I think I read about it sometime. Gosh, it was a long time ago, and it was something about a woman in a densely populated area was, I don't know, attacked, raped, murdered on her front doorstep. And there were neighbors everywhere. Windows were open. There were people all around. And they heard this happening and nobody did anything because they assumed that somebody else was going to do it. I have never been that kind of person. And okay, I was just checking to see, can I share this? Because yes, it's okay. Because the reason I hesitate is I'm like, I don't want you to think I'm bragging or looking for praise or anything. That's not what this is about. We went to dinner with my mom at the place where she lives. She's in independent living. They have a dining hall, with a restaurant, basically. And we were there, and I was there with my mom, my daughter, grown daughter, obviously, my brother-in-law, my husband. We were having dinner. And so most of the people who lived there and who were in the dining room were older people. You know, my mom's in her 80s. And all of a sudden, you know, there was a lot of people there. All of a sudden, I thought I heard somebody say help, and everything got real quiet. And somebody said help. And I looked around, and a lady was choking. And I just got up and walked over it. One of her friends at the table was trying to do the Heimlich, but didn't have the strength. They couldn't really get to her. And so I got up there and just did it. And you know, as soon as she could breathe, you know, I was like, I was listening and paying attention. I was like, okay, you've got breath, you've got breath. And that was like all I could think was you've got breath. Okay. Because, you know, when somebody's choking, you wait until you realize they don't have breath. That's what I was listening for, you know. So then that was it. And I just went back to my chair. But nobody in the room did anything. You know, I mean, and I'm not saying that they should, or they didn't know what to do, I'm sure, or they thought somebody else would do it. And then they saw me do it and I went and did it, you know, it's fine. But that concept of helping and of kindness spreading is, it can be a little tricky if people are not if they're not in the right mind. And you know, I know that a lot of this was people being afraid and they didn't know what to do. I didn't even do it right. Honestly, you're supposed to get behind them, standing up and, you know, put your thumb into their solar plexus. I didn't really do that. She was sitting down and I kind of got around her, just, you know, got where I thought I could get and squeezed, you know, I just did it. But they were afraid, I guess. You know, what if she had just keeled over and died? What would we have done? So, yeah, kindness spreads. I like that you said it that way too, because people say spread kindness, or kindness doesn't cost a thing. Sprinkle that shit everywhere, which I love. But to say kindness spreads, that means that when you do a kindness or you show kindness, that it is sort of an entity unto itself. And I love that. I'm going to make a note of that. You're beautiful. Okay, so is there something you could put that on? Can you work kindness spreads into a piece of jewelry or something? Okay, all right. Well then, that's awesome, and thank you both for that. That's just awesome. I love the whole thing. Okay, let's do our 3x3 card readings. We should be able to wrap up by about 12:45. I want to mention a couple of things. We are now doing a 45-minute show instead of an hour. For a variety of reasons, which I won't go into. And also, I mentioned that I'm leading the next uh, generation of spiritual guides. I am getting ready to start a group for that. So I may not ever do it again, but this is the work that I've been doing for years and years, and I really want to, um, you know, see what it's going to be like for me to help you to move into your purpose and to help others in the way that only you can. So I want you to stay tuned for that. Make sure you're on my mailing list. You can do that at mojomedium.com. If you register for Woo Wednesdays, you're on my mailing list. And also, there is, if you go to my website, mojomedium.com, if you click on the image at the very top on the front page, it will take you to the page about spiritual guidance. And there's an application you can fill out. It's no obligation because we're just getting started on this. So take a look at that and let me know your questions and your thoughts on that. And I would love to know what you think, you know, what it seems like to you and what questions you have. All right, let's do our 3x3 card readings. Okay, so I'm using my favorite deck, Magical Mermaids and Dolphins. I love it. And we're going to do 3x3. So it's 3 deep breaths, 3 shuffles of the deck, and 3 cards drawn. And I'm going to walk you through all of those things. So first, we're going to do our micro meditation, which is 3 deep breaths. And while we do that, I want you to concentrate on this thought. I call on my angels and guides, as well as all those who have my best interests at heart. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm going to shuffle the deck 3 times. And while I do this, I want you to think about, concentrate on your biggest question or concern right now. If you have too many that are all equally important and you just can't choose one, or if you can't think of anything to ask about, then use the default question, what do I need to know right now? And you can even say, what do I need to know right now about XYZ? Okay. All right. So let's do that while I shuffle the cards. Is that 2 or 3? All right. Now I'm at the deck. I'm going to deal out 3 cards. I want you to choose 1, 2, or 3. Don't put too much thought into it. Just whatever pops into your mind, because it doesn't matter as much as actually thinking of a number. Okay. I like to do it too. That's what I just wrote down. So now then, what I want you to remember is you've chosen a number, 1, 2, or 3, and you may also get messages from the other cards, because that's how readings work. Anytime you're witness to somebody else's reading, you see a card reading on TikTok, or you overhear somebody, you hear John Edward talking about somebody's grandfather. When it resonates with you, it is for you too. Okay. So if it means something to you, it means something to you. Don't toss it away because you didn't choose that number. Okay. All right. If you chose card number 1, this is your card. Playtime, the dolphins, because we're talking about magical mermaids and dolphins. Dolphins know the importance of playing, as joy creates miracles and manifestation. So just as with the good news cards, I will also take a look and see what's about this. Okay. It's funny. This is kind of looking back. It feels like you took a break, you did something fun, and now you're feeling like, oh, I'm paying for that. Like I shouldn't have done that. And I think that's what this is about this time. So give yourself a break and understand that playtime's important too. You don't just have to work all the time, or fulfill obligations, or whatever that guilt is about. All right, if you chose card number 2, this is your card. Explore your options. It's time to look at other possibilities and a good time to make changes, which is also really good. Hold on, let me make a note here. And explore your options. I like that. Explore your options. So depending on what your question was, you may be thinking, oh, okay, well, that's what I needed to know. But let me see if I can, Okay, so explore your options is more the point than other possibilities and changes, which are also on this card. It is more about what you're doing or what your question's about, not like, oh, I need to look at a completely different thing. I need to just change it completely. It is about what other possibilities are around this that I'm trying to do or accomplish, or that I'm concerned about. Okay, so it's look at options. What are your options? Keep doing it this way, keep doing it that, start doing it that way, start doing it that way, rather than something completely different. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And then if you chose card number 3, blessed change, major life change brings you great blessings. Okay, so I always start with this card telling you about change, because a wise man or woman once said, everybody wants improvement, but nobody wants change. Because change is hard, and change is scary, and change hurts, or it can. So perfect example, just moved up here a couple of months ago from living in Texas my entire life. I now live in Illinois. It's a big change, and I was very excited about it, looking forward to it. But you know what? Moving is a pain in the ass. I hated it, and I did not look forward to that at all. I did look forward to living here. So that was a change that was a good change from the outset. But there were hurdles to leap before I got here. So that can happen, or a change can happen like you lose your job and then you go, wow, that really sucks. But down the road a bit, you may look back and go, that was actually a good change. So you find the blessings in the change. Okay, so that's kind of that's my face value evaluation of this. Okay. The change is coming. Oh, okay. This is a really positive change. I don't think that you will see it as bad from the start or that you'll be too afraid of it. The positive change that's coming is an elevation or an up leveling or it could be a raise. It could be making more money. It could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be money, but it will be an increase in status or an improvement in your relationship, or it's like that. It is an up leveling feeling. It's a feeling of, wow, things are changing in a good, positive way. So I love that. And I don't think that my lecture about being afraid of change or not liking change even applies here, because I think you will see right at the beginning that it's a good thing. Okay. All right. Well, we are almost out of time. Anybody have any questions or thoughts that you would like to share before we close? No, Candy's good. Melanie's thinking. Good. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, I'm going to wrap it up then, and I will see you again next week. Thank you so much. And yeah, think about, are you feeling the tug of fate to help the world into the new paradigm? All right. And then I will see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.